Hi Arrowhead Guys. Today on BBQ'n'A, Adam and I are going to tell you the basic items you need to have before you start that first big cook. Alright, welcome back Arrowhead Guys. Today on BBQ'n'A, we're going to talk about some of the basic things you need to have at your disposal before you start that first big cook. First thing you're going to need is a giant cutting board.
Don't go small.
Don't go small.
Big.
Big. You need something you can put down, and this is one of the few things you might want to go out and buy because a lot of people don't have a really large cutting board.
Right, and we recommend wood or nylon or plastic, which is what this is.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to use a sponge cutting board. Very bad for bacteria.
That's very true. You're gonna need to get gloves. It just makes your life so much easier. It's worth the $3 you're gonna pay at the grocery store.
The first time I did barbecue after I bought a box of these gloves changed my life forever. Because you get that cut of meat and you got it on the cutting board and now your hands are covered in fat.
Slimy.
And you're cutting and now you got to do something else. You go to the sink and you wash your hands. You come back, you go to put your rub on it, put your rub all over it, rub it in. Now your hands are covered in rub. Now you got to wash them again. Pair of gloves, you put them on. When you're done, peel it off, throw it away. Your hands are clean. You can go grab your next utensil. You can go get the rubs out of the cabinet. And then when you're ready to do your next step, gloves back on, do your work. It saves you so much time.
So after you got gloves, obviously you're gonna need knives. So Tony, I think you have a couple knives that I would call boning knives or fillet knives or prep knives.
So a couple knives that I love. The first one here is it's a buck skeletonized boning knife. I tell people all the time that this is going to be your favorite knife. You can get this on Amazon. I think the all stainless one starts at like $20, $25. But every time I tell somebody about this knife, I say, this is going to be your favorite knife for preparing barbecue. And they go, I got a knife I like. And today Adam showed up at my house and I said, check this thing out. And I handed it to him. He fell in love.
It's a great knife. For the price, $25, you're hard pressed to find something better. The edge is great. The feel is great. It's light, it's nimble. The curve in the blade allows you to get perfectly like pull cuts when you're trying to trim up things, and the thinness of the blade allows you to get deeper into cuts, into like angles. It's a great knife.
So if you don't have something that you can use for a boning or trimming knife, look into these. They're on Amazon. Again, it's a buck boning knife.
You don't have to have a boning knife. This is not 100% have to have. But once you have one, you'll just be super glad and mad at yourself for not buying one years before. So just keep that in mind.
Now this is not going to be an everyday use item, but a fillet knife, when you go to do chicken, is going to be your best friend. And you want a pretty decent fillet knife. There's a lot of options out there in the $20 to $40 range. This is one I think I picked up at just a local store. It keeps a pretty good edge on it, but a lot of you guys have a fillet knife in your fish box. Grab it out, clean it off.
Clean it.
Yeah, clean it a little bit. Sharpen it, but this does great for chicken skins and really fine work that you have to do for that. We probably won't get into that very soon, but once we do touch on chicken, we will be doing some fillet knife work. So these are a couple of your very specific knives. However, there are some general use knives that you probably already have at home. Adam, you want to start something?
Sure. Most of you at home, if you bought like a box set of knives or anything, pretty much every knife set you'll buy will come with a chef's knife. I brought today a Japanese style chef's knife. It's a gyuto. Basically, a chef's knife can do everything that you want a normal knife to do, but it's limited. It's not quite long enough for certain things. It's not quite small enough like our boning knives to get in and really work around tendons and fat, but you can manage. And I absolutely suggest that everyone find one that they like and one that feels great in their hand. And also, if you're going to spend money on one, find one that not only feels great in your hand, but has a good quality steel. You're going to keep it forever. A small thing you're going to need that doesn't really get talked about a lot is you're going to need a sharpener.
Yeah.
You need sharp knives. I mean, it's pretty basic work.
And one of the big things is as you start trimming these really fatty cuts of meat, they dull blades really fast. So you're going to spend a lot of time sharpening. Do yourself a favor. You can go find one at your local box store. You can find them online. Go find yourself a fairly nice knife sharpener. It's something you're going to use all the time anyways. So this is pretty much everything you need to get your meat prepped and in the cooker. However, barbecuing is messy.
Yeah, it's a little messy.
Make life a little bit easier on your wife who might be not so happy about you dirtying all of her favorite pans. There's a solution.
Yeah, so what you can do is you can go to your box store, your local box store, and you can pick up these aluminum foil disposable pans. They're cheap, and they're readily available, and we highly recommend them.
And like the gloves, it makes life so much easier. You get done cooking something, you take it out of the pan, you wad the pan up, and you just throw it away. You're done with it. So now you got that beautiful, big, juicy butt sitting in a pan, sitting in the
We're
smoke.
talking about barbecue, right?
If you want.
Okay.
You're getting a beautiful bark on that meat. The color's just right. Now it's time to finish it because you might have had one or two many birds that day. It happens. The Texas crutch. A big old roll of foil. Some people say it's cheap, and I don't care. When you've had that butt or anything really in the smoker for 5 to 6 hours, it's done taking all the smoke it's going to take. So at this point, it's just time to get it done. Once you got the bark just the way you like it, it looks good, wrap that sucker up. If you're pressed for time, you can bump the heat up a little bit and just get it done, because at that point it's taking on all the flavor it's going to. And you're really just trying to get it finished to the right temperature.
So, Tony.
Yes, Adam.
Speaking of temperatures.
Temperatures, you say?
How do you know, or how do you check your meat? Like, I don't.
There's a joke there. But for the barbecue series, this is a family-friendly show. I have a digital thermometer here. This is a instant read. This brand's a Thermopop. There's tons of them out there. You can get them at any store. You can get them online. There's all different kinds. There's Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. All you need is a simple thermometer. You turn this guy on, you stick it in the meat, it comes up to temperature. One thing you want to do is, for large cuts, you want to make sure that you're getting a pretty good depth inside there, and that for a pork butt, you're not pushing it up against the bone, because that'll throw your reading off. This is one of the things that is a necessity. If you don't have it, go pick up one at the store, get one ordered. You got to make sure that your food is cooked properly.
So let's just say you're done. Your thermometer is temped. It feels like it's supposed to come off the smoker. How are you gonna take it off? You got options.
Very carefully.
You don't want to mess it up. What kind of options we got?
Well, you got your bare hands option, which I don't recommend. There's several varieties of insulated gloves that you can use. I generally like to use a very freaking large spatula.
Oh, like this?
Like that. This guy's handy because you can get a glove on one hand, kind of scoop it with the other, depending on what it is. And for ribs, it's really great because you can kind of scoop up one end, grab the other end with your glove, and kind of carry them. Because if you like a nice fall off the bone rib, they're pretty fragile taking them off.
They are very fragile. You got to be very careful taking them off. So another utensil we have today is a pair of barbecue tongs.
Otherwise known as the clicker. Be quite honest with you, I don't use these very often, but I take them with me everywhere.
It's less for barbecue and more for grilling. If you're gonna like cook some dogs or steaks or chicken or just chicken breast, something like that for the family. These are great to have. Not necessarily for barbecue,
But one of the uses you can get for them, if you don't have any gloves, you're going to pick up those ribs, just like that. Good way to transfer. Also for moving your chickens around if you're doing barbecue chicken. These will come in handy. Pork butts and briskets really don't do much for you. So now we've got the meat out. We got this beautiful brisket laying on our ginormous cutting board that we washed since we prepped it.
yes.
Now you need to slice that thing.
Back to being kind of frugal. The chef knife. It can do what we would do with brisket. You can get full length slices out of a chef knife. But another option for you folks is a slicing knife, and we would recommend getting one whenever you're comfortable with cooking brisket. It makes your cuts so much cleaner. You can get really good control of thickness of slices. It's a great knife. Now it is, again, kind of specific. It would fall into the category with the boning knives and such, but it's almost a must-have for brisket.
The thing about a perfectly cooked brisket is that it's on the verge of self-destruction.
Absolutely.
When you want that brisket done is right before it just falls apart, which is where the meat slicing knife comes in, because it's thin, it's got the scalloped edges so that the meat doesn't stick to it as the knife slides through it, and it allows you to slice that without destroying your pieces. A lot of times if you don't have a knife that's long enough to go across the full width of the brisket and you're trying to do a dragging cut towards you, what you'll end up doing is you'll separate those pieces and they'll just crumble apart. Which, you know, I've never overcooked a brisket and had it just crumble apart on the cutting board. So
We don't do that.
no, never. It'll happen. It's not the worst thing in the world. Cooked barbecue is just more delicious. Just not as, might not be as pretty, but it works. So folks, what you have here is the basics of what you need to get you through your first cook. You don't need everything. We told you that. But these are some of the things you need to think about. You probably already have a few of these laying around the house. This makes life easier. As we go into our how-to videos where we actually show you how to start cooking these things that we've been telling you about, have these things handy. We're going to show you their use if it's not self-explanatory enough. But have these things ready, because once you see our meat, you're going to want to cook some of your own.
Is giant spatulas or spatulas.
The longer the better, they say.
It'll fucking A. What the fuck is this?
Clicker.
Seriously, what the fuck is it called?
Tongs.
Tongs. Damn, why is it? I don't know. Clicker.